Imagine it's Monday morning, you have a business trip to Munich, and your personal assistant, your AI agent, hasn't just booked your train ticket, they've planned your entire day. They know which trains you prefer, they know that I, for example, would like to sit by the window aisle, not near the toilet, and they've scheduled all my business meetings, including the dinner, ready to go. And that's a fundamental shift. So, whereas in the past with LLMs, we had a kind of oracle that you would consult on a kind of interaction prompt to answer type basis. Give me an answer, what about this? AI agents are supposed to be the genies from the bottle. So they are going to fulfill, or at least that's the idea, your preferences, your wishes over much longer time spans, as opposed to short, single-lived, discrete interactions. My name is Benjamin Lange, and I'm a junior research group leader in the ethics of AI at the LMU and MCML. So I don't think the main ethical risks from AI agent is going to be the robot revolution that's going to kind of subdue humanity, but rather risks of manipulating us through kindness. So because these kinds of technologies are going to be very pervasive in our lives, they sound friendly, it's very easy to be able to actually form bonds and attachments with them, and we're going to trust them to a very large degree. And once this kind of dynamic happens, there's all kinds of subtle risks of manipulation, of attachment that can actually occur. Because oftentimes, of course, you trust your friend, and if you delegate tasks to them, you're not going to check so quickly anymore. You're just going to say, well, it sounds all right, I trust them. And that's exactly where the risk then with AI agent lies. As we delegate more to them, we risk actually undermining our autonomy. Just to give you one example to make these ethical risks concrete, your personal agent actually says, well, you sound quite tired this morning and I'm going to shift and reschedule some of your meetings. What's happening there is that actually it's a subtle form of influence. It's projecting a kind of paternalistic intention onto your day and thereby perhaps in a objectionable way infringing upon your autonomy, because it's up to you to decide. And as soon as we allow this technology to be much more integrated in our lives and make these kinds of decisions for us, at the same time we risk losing the human element, the human control, and our ability to decide and actually shape the kinds of things we want to do. Some of these risks already exist with ChatGPT and other general generative AI technologies, but all of these risks can be much more amplified when we then actually move to the stage of agentic AI. And this is particularly important for vulnerable populations such as children, elderly, those who cannot, take full responsibility for their actions yet, or those who are vulnerable towards actually being wrongly influenced in some cases. I think, especially when it comes to interactions with AI agents, the risk isn't so much that it's going to create a conflict, but rather that these systems, especially in human interactions, are going to create expectations of a friendship that they will not be able to honor. We need to have proper design and governance at least 3 layers simultaneously. There isn't just a single silver bullet. We need responsible governance at the level of design, so at the level of the developers of this technology, at the level of standardization, so we need to have standards and metrics in place for safety and socio-technical safety to make sure that these things operate in the way in which we intend to, independently from the developers. And we need governance and responsibility through lawmakers, through stakeholders in public society to make sure that we integrate this technology, and so far as we decide to do it, in a responsible way that's in line with our interest and not just with the interest of the kinds of stakeholders that actually develop this technology. Then lastly, so when it comes to governing this kinds of technology and using it in the future, we as users in society need to ask ourselves, who gets to speak first, we or the machine?